Okay, hi guys, Tom Pingle here. I'm going to try to walk you through how to do a post-processing correction for one of the RTK units. So the scenario here, we're using an Emlid reach. We're operating in a place where we don't have a cell signal, we don't have a data connection, so we can't do real-time corrections. So what we want to do is post-process the logs that we've got with the reach and uh, uh, basically try to get a good solution via post processing. So the first thing you're going to need to do is download the reach logs. An example of what you're looking for, you're going to be looking for the raw Linux files. At least that's what I'm going to be working with today. There are a couple of other formats that you can use, but we're using Linux 303. If you've got other versions, you can probably still make this work. That's a zip file, and inside that zip file, you've got a couple of other pieces. We're going to be using this observation file, which is going to contain most of the data, and then this nav file. I'm not going to go into how to pull those down off of the Emlid reach. That's for another video, but you should be able to kind of move through those and pull down the logs, save them, unzip them, and we'll be working with those. The other files that you're going to need are the correction files. So here you can pull these down. We're using the UNPM station in Puerto Morelos. You're going to need the Julian date to pull these things down. So this is just sort of an integer date, the number of days, sequential days in the year. So you can look up your date. This is for June 22nd, 2018. So that's day 173, and then this is the station day. So there's a bunch of files in this directory, and the one you're going to want are the 18.0 files. This file has got a .gz extension. That's a gzip file, and so you can unzip that as you would any other compressed file, any other zip file. And so what you'll get is something. So here's that gz file, and what you'll get is a folder that opens up. Remember, you're looking for the one that's 18.0, and you can see that there are a couple of those. So this is the one that you would want. So that's our correction file. We're basically going to be following along with the instructions here on Emlid, the Emlid tutorials for GPS post-processing. But while this focuses on using one Emlid reach to correct the other, we're going to be using a file that we downloaded from the CORS network. So you can't use just any RTK lib for this. You're going to need the one that's the Emlid one. So I'm using this one right here, and I've got it saved in this directory here. So you can go in, and we're just going to be using RTK post to do the job. I'm going to clear out these files. These are ones from a previous run, so we'll get rid of these. Okay. So for the rover file, we're going to browse for that. This is the data that we're working with here. So we're going to go into the folder where I've saved these. We're going to go into the reach unit that I'm using. And we're going to pull in this observation file. The second one is the base station file. So this is the UNPM correction file. So here's our project folder. Here's where I downloaded these. I've noticed that this can be a little sticky, so you can have to change this around a little bit to get it to show up properly. I don't know why that is. You can see that it just showed up there at the end. Let's try that again. So like I said, it can be a little sticky. Don't worry too much about that if it doesn't show up right away. Give it a second. So here it showed up. We're going to go in here and set this to So here it is, the file that we're looking for. So just be a little patient for these files to show up. We hit OK. We're now looking for this nav file. So we're gonna. This comes with our. This is data that the unit itself recorded, so that's here. We're going to open that up. It's going to automatically put this stuff in wherever the rover's Linux file is, so that's fine. If you want to change that directory, you can. I'm just going to hit execute, and that's going to create the solution. So this does take a little bit of time. You're going to see this status bar start to tick through. So I'm going to pause the video here while that runs. Okay, that took a few minutes to run, but it's done. So let's take a look at the result. It's going to dump that by default into wherever your raw file was. So that's here. These are the two input files we used to find the solution. This is the output file. So it's a .pos position file. And we're going to load that into Excel just to take a quick look at it. So we can import that. So we're going to import this position file. Oops. So here it is. We're going to open it up. To bring this in, it's a plain text file, and it's got all the data we need. If you look at the top, you can see sort of a bunch of header information. Whoops, that's too far. A bunch of header information. And then at line 10, we have the actual headers for the data itself. And then at 11, we have our data. So we have things like the latitude, the longitude, the height. Here's the date, the latitude, the longitude, the height. Q is the quality of the fix. So a lot of this stuff is single. We've got a number of other stuff in here which we're not going to worry about now. So what we want to do is import that file starting at line 10. So we'll set that to 10. And then we're going to click My Data Has Headers so that it uses that 10th line for the header in the Excel file. We need to also specify that it's a delimited file. And we're going to make this delimited by space. It's not going to look right in the preview, but it'll turn out fine. And we'll hit Finish. That's going to bring our data in. So here's our, this is our date, time, latitude, longitude, and height. And then we can calculate whatever we need from there. So for instance, we might be interested in taking a look at the average or median location. So we could say take the median of C2 because the first line is a header through C31, 676, the line right above. And then we can copy and paste these in here to get latitude, longitude, and height. This height is the height above the ellipsoid, so you may need to convert this. So as part of our data flow, we usually use a conversion here where we're going to convert it to a northing and an easting. So we just copy and paste this in here. You'll notice that there's a lot more data in there than just the what you can see. So we run the conversion, we've got it over here, and then we can just copy and paste our easting and northing right here. We also very often will calculate the orthometric. So we're going to copy our latitude and longitude over here. So copy and paste there. Copy and paste here. We can copy our GPS elevation. That was in there from a previous run. So I'm just going to copy that in there and hit submit. This only takes a second to generate. So here it is. We've got a geoid height of about 11.2 meters, giving us an orthometric height of 12.5 meters. So we can just paste that right in here. Okay. Hopefully you learned a little bit about how to do the post-processing, taking RINEX files gathered from an Emlid reach, combining those with an observation taken from one of the CORS network sites, and post-processing those to get a better estimate of latitude and longitude and height. So thanks very much.